Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 29. The holidays are almost ending. We are almost done. We are coming up to New Year's. So this is our New Year's show. This is our last show of 2025. Welcome in 2026. Thank you all for being here with me. We will see. So, shiny crystal of the week. I'm going to say this week is teachers. I'm going to talk about teachers. Teachers are shiny crystals because, they shape our little brains, our little minds when we're little kids. It's so important to have good teachers. I can't believe teachers aren't paid more than they are because they literally shape the minds of our future society. So it blows my mind that they're not making crazy amounts of money. It's just wild to me. So they're such shiny crystals. Teachers are just everything. I remember Miss Carcaterra. Miss Carcaterra was like my girl. I loved her so much. She didn't even do anything that was so specific. She just was herself. She just was cool and she was honest and she was just a vibe and she was straightforward and she just was fun. She was the choreographer in the musicals that we did. She just was cool. She was a Gemini and she just was down to earth. She just was, she didn't act like a kid, but she didn't act like an old hag, she just was cool, she just was chill. And I loved her energy. You can always go to Miss Carcaterra. That was the thing. She was our safe place. She was someone that you knew you can go to her and she's going to be there. And it's so important to have that. Being a kid is such a vulnerable time in your life. And it's so important to have an adult that you can talk to and you can go to. And I will respect her till the day I die. She just is somebody I loved. So teachers, keep doing your thing. You're so important to us. You are so important to us. And you don't hear it enough. And I feel like when people go into teaching, it's because they do it for the love of it. Because it's not such a glamorous job. It's not such a high paying job. I mean, you get the holidays and the summers off, which is amazing, and you're getting paid. But, they're so important. So shout out to all the teachers. We love you guys, truly. The good ones. The ones that are nasty and a little abusive, you got to work that out. You got to figure that out, honey. Don't be a teacher if you're going to be like that to the kids. All right, so on to our new segment, Reincarnate or Reincarnate. So today I'm doing rock and single snowflake. So rock, would I come back? Now, of course, you're not going to come back and just, be a rock for the whole experience. You could be a rock for an hour. You could jump, your energy can fly in that little sucker. See, that's let me tell you, when I'm a soul, out of this body and I'm out there, I'm going to be jumping in all this crap. I'm going to be experiencing it all. That's what I believe. I believe that souls can't, they're just doing I'm going to go be a rock for a couple of hours. That's how they spend their day. That's how they spend their time experiencing things. Because the whole point of a soul, the energy wants to experience, it wants to expand. So yes, human is one of the ultimate experiences. You get 100 years if you're lucky, but let's say you get 85 years, to really experience emotions and contrast and relationships and struggles and good times and the biggest joys of your life, because you have these feelings inside your body. You have senses, the senses that we know we're using, taste, smell, hearing, sight, touch, those are the ones we know about. And then we have the senses that I'm using that are extra, which a lot of people can do. Those are even grand. Those are grand. Oh, what a pleasure and gift to be able to do that, right? When it's happening, when I'm doing that, when I'm in readings, it's like magic, and it feels really awesome to experience that and to be able to do that. And then when I get the validation from people that it's hitting, it's so cool, so exciting, so fulfilling. So, if I was going to be a rock for a couple of hours, I think that would be cool. I think to sit there and not have any responsibilities. Although, do rocks have responsibilities? Yeah, I mean, they hold things up, right? A rock is like a mountain, so it's holding things up. Boulders also, help deter water. Sometimes, they help the stream of the water, the direction of water, but they're not on the clock about it. I feel like rocks are one of the most natural things. So any job a rock is doing, they're naturally doing. They might fall into a river, and now they're redirecting water. So I think it would just be cool to just be like rocking around, like, you fall off the mountain. Now you're just a rock, you're not getting hurt. I don't think rocks don't get hurt, even when people are breaking them. That's the other thing too, like to be inside a rock, like you're an element, like, when you crack open a rock and like, it's like shiny and sparkly inside there. Like that's the thing too, like all the rocks are different. Some have shine. They're like humans. Some have shiny insides, and some are just kind of bland. Some are just, you crack it open, it's like, oh, it looks like it looks on the outside. But sometimes you open up and it's a magical little thing. The texture of rocks. Like I love a smooth rock. Literally, I have a smooth rock at my home, and I hold it and I just rub it. I love the texture of a smooth rock. So yeah, I wouldn't mind being a rock for a few hours. I don't think I would want to be a rock for like a long time, because I feel like, maybe I do want to be a rock for a long time. Maybe I do want to sit and see what it's like to be in one position day in, day out until, maybe a kid picks you up. What a journey. Like a little kid picks you up and then paints on you. Oh, hold on. Okay. Now I'm understanding this. Now I'm understanding this segment here, because I'm genuinely getting a feeling about how cool that experience might be as a rock. Like, think about this. You're a rock. Oh my God, I'm like actually going to cry. You're a rock, and a little kid comes and picks you up and then takes you back to their home, and maybe like their mom is there, and then they start painting the rock together, and now you're being painted on and you're being adored. They love this little rock that they're painting on, and they make you even more beautiful. At first you were just a little dull rock in a park alone, or maybe on the side of the street alone. You're just sitting there, I'm just a rock. And then this little kid picks you up and has all this joy for you, or it has all this expectation. We're going to paint you with my mom. I'm going to have this, a cool experience with my mom. We're going to paint you. And then they paint you, and you fill these people up. You fill the kid up with joy. Look at what I made this little dull rock, a beautiful, colorful thing with my mom. And then, let's maybe possibly, if this is sad, but maybe the mom passes and then the kid has the rock forever. You are now the most important thing to that kid. I painted this rock with my mom, and now you have such importance. You went from being a rock, a nothing, really, to now the most important thing to this kid in his life. Colorful, beautiful, full of a memory that will last forever. That's pretty fucking awesome, man. So I'm going to reincarnate. I'm going to do it. That is not a reincarnate. That is a reincarnate. Whew. That was awesome, man. Whew. My goodness. Oh, I need a second to recover from that. My God, that was okay. Pull it together, Thomas. So, single snowflake. Would I want to be a single? Well, obviously the longevity of that is like, okay, so you come in first, you're water. So you're a piece of water that's coming from the cloud, and then it freezes, right? And then it becomes a snowflake. And then it just drops, and now you're in the snow. Now, depending on the environment around you, if it's freezing, if it's still cold, if it doesn't rain, yes, you can lay there and you can survive. What I like about this experience as a snowflake is, again, bringing joy. Kids and adults, when you first look out your window, before, the cars and the slush and the dirt, forget all that. When you first look out the window and you see everything filled with snow, and you're one of those little pieces of snow, and you helped make that experience so beautiful and so like refreshing, that's pretty cool. And what I like about the snowflake too is you melt and then it's done. So you're not really like out there for a long time. Like if you're going to do a snowflake, if your soul's going to go into that snowflake, you're there maybe if you're lucky, you got like 3 days maybe before you melt, or if someone steps on you or a dog pisses on you, you're not there for a long time. It's a quick piece of joy. So that's kind of cool too, because it's not really a commitment. So I think I don't see, besides being peed on by a dog, I don't see or eaten. My nephews were eating the snow. I was like, guys, I don't know if you should do that too much. It might hurt your belly. But yeah, for the most part, being a snowflake sounds like an easy gig, like it's like you just jump in, and you're floating through this. That is cool too. That you're like feeling that feeling of floating again. I think because souls don't feel like they're floating, like they're energy. So they're just existing in another realm. They're not floating around like the movies say it goes. They're not doing that. So when you can only feel the feeling of floating when you're in a physical form, obviously. So the snowflake dropping, you would feel that light, airy feeling. And then you would softly, gently touch the ground and stick. And you would stay there. Although, I don't know if I would want to be a snowflake at the bottom of the snow, though. I feel a little claustrophobic. See, with me, with the snowflake journey, there's too many things I would need in order to enjoy the snowflake journey. So I don't know. I think that might be a reincarnate for me, because the more I talk about it, the more I realize I got to be on the top. Don't pee on me. Don't eat me. I don't know if so it's like there's too many elements where it can go wrong. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be a snowflake at the bottom. I don't want that. I don't want that experience. I'm like, so I'm going to reincarnate. Single snowflake, rock, reincarnate. Snowflake, reincarnate. Not my vibe. It could have been cute, but after I thought about it more and talked about it more, I'm not feeling it. I'm getting claustrophobic about it. It's actually like too many variables as a snowflake. So no. So I'm going to stick with rock. Rock, reincarnate. All right. Well, that was fun. I like that one. Tell me what you guys think about the new segment. I love it. All right. So let's go on to our Oh Wise One. Oh Wise One. I'm reading this one today. This was a good one. Let's see. This was a very interesting question. Well, it wasn't. It was a question. Okay. I'm just going to read it as is. So they said, not sure if this would make sense for you to address on the podcast, but what's your take on how we should make sense of the recent tragedies? Brown University shooting, Bondi Beach shooting, the horrific murders of Rob Reiner and his wife. As we all try to be more enlightened, making sense of these horrifying acts is so difficult. That's a great question. Really, really great question. And I want to take a second to really think about that. So as we're on this journey of enlightenment and we're trying to stay in it, well, remember this too. Remember what I've always said about enlightenment, about awakening. It doesn't mean that you're always in a peaceful Zen place. It doesn't mean that you're always vibrating high. It doesn't mean that you're always light. So if you're feeling angry or you're pissed off or you're like, fuck that motherfucker for shooting those people, that's okay. That doesn't mean you're not still enlightened. You're still a human. You can't shake being a human, okay? So having those feelings, negative feelings of anger or hate, which is such a strong word, because that's the thing. In enlightenment, we always have to try to find the place of forgiveness. We always have to find the place of understanding. Like, to me, the biggest thing is empathy, being empathetic towards a situation that you might not understand. Like, I would never be someone who would shoot or kill somebody. I just can't do it. But just because I can't do it doesn't mean that there aren't people that can do it. And just because they can do it, I can't judge why they're doing it. Obviously, they are misled. Clearly, when you're killing people or hurting people, you're clearly misled. You're clearly not in a good place, okay? Being an empathetic soul is not easy because oftentimes you might say, well, they're not in a good place, or maybe, and then the other people might be like, what, fuck that, drag them by the balls, they should be killed, they should be. And when you're a true empath or when you are truly enlightened, you do often start to see the, oh, okay, Obviously that's bad. You see that side, or you're not making excuses for the people, obviously. But when you truly are enlightened or awakened, you really do realize that it's bigger than humanity, and it's bigger than our bad choices, and it's bigger than than people's deranged brains, because that's derangement. To be able to take another life is derangement. But you don't know where they're being fueled. So when people do something like that, like obviously it's from hate, right? So why do they have that hate? Where is that hate coming from? Why do they hate? What are they being taught? What are they being told? There's so much stuff in this world that happens because we're being told another story, or people have a misconception, or so they think in their minds they're validated for what they're doing, or they just have plain hate. A lot of people just weren't raised right. Sometimes it's as simple as that. There's so many people that just weren't raised correctly. They weren't told, bad, don't speak like that to people. Don't do this, don't do that. They weren't raised properly. Then you have people who were raised perfectly and the person's just deranged, or, who knows, maybe a lot of these, like the school shooters, a lot of them are, you find that they might be on mental health medications, and anyone who's been on the SSRI journey knows not every psych med works well with the chemistry in your brain. So not saying that those are bad, but I'm saying that they're not perfected for sure, and they mess people up. So that could be a reason. You just don't know why they become deranged. So I think in enlightenment, when it comes to spirituality, when you're awakened or enlightened, you have to try to detach yourself from that and try to step back as to why they're doing it, and try not to feed into the anger or the hate of it, because then you're just like them. Clearly not like them, because you're not killing people or hurting people, but you know what I mean? Like, you're vibrating at that same level of hate. It's like, I remember when I was younger and Columbine happened, for one of the first like big school shootings, and I was like watching the TV crying my eyes out, because I just was like, felt so bad I put myself in the shoes of the kids that were experiencing it. That's for me a lot of times what happens. Like I'll experience what the victims are feeling, and that's where I get that sadness from. But in an enlightened state, I try not to judge. That's my biggest thing. I would say with enlightenment, I try not to judge. Judging is really the path that, it's a path that I would say doesn't bring out the best outcome, because then you start putting yourself in, again, it's like a righteous place, and it's like, we don't know. Obviously, yes, people who are killing people like that, or vicious murders, or any of that stuff, it's like, it's beyond terrible. But I try not to have a big opinion about it, because I try not to even indulge in it, because it just makes me feel sad, and it just makes me feel bad and negative. And then it's a ripple effect, man. I think when you're enlightened and when you're awakened, you try not to be part of the ripple effect. Like when Charlie Kirk got murdered, like I saw that and I was like, oh my God, what the hell? That's so crazy to see and witness. But I didn't get on the path of who's bad and who's right and this and that. And I stayed neutral from that, and I stayed away from that, because it's all just part of the negative ripple effect. So they do the murder, they do this bad thing, and then everyone feels negative, and that bad thing gets even more power. So I try not to give it power. That's the way I attack it. Don't give it power. You can't ever get rid of darkness, or you can't ever stop negativity. It's the balance of nature. It's yin and yang, positivity, negativity. It's light, dark. It is always going to exist. My journey, what I'm trying to put out there, let's just be more light. Be more light. So if there's more light, then there's less dark. There will always be dark. Stop trying to try to like tell people, don't be dark, don't do, obviously, be more light. That's what I would say. In the enlightenment journey, what you can do to navigate these. And here's the thing too, because of social media, there's so much more information about, all the stuff that's going on in the world. There's so many things that were always going on, but now we see it more. Be the light. I swear. I can't say it enough. The way to navigate through the darkness in these times is to be the light. Focus on your light. You will not see me sharing negative news. I won't do it. I've done it in the past, and I have become enlightened. Once you become enlightened and awakened, you know not to share the negative shit. So if you are truly enlightened or you're working towards enlightenment, don't share the negative shit. Shine your light. That's how we can do it. I love that. That felt great. That is the truth right there. That is so important for all of you guys to hear. Shine your light and share your light. That's how you can fight against darkness. All right, my loves. Well, let's go to our sponsor, Christine Louisi, Collective Beauty Skincare Studio. I believe this will air right before New Year's, so obviously you can always get a gift card. But again, I will say it like I say it every week. We love Christine. We love the studio. We love the eyebrows. We love the facials. Go for it. Malvern, if you're in New York, Jersey, Connecticut, if you have someone who lives in these areas, trust me when I tell you, people have already gone there from us and they love it. The parking is so easy. And what I love the best is it's like you and her in the place. There's not there's nothing. It's not a busy, packed place. I love that. It's literally like your own vibe, just you and her. It's like your own personal esthetician. So go for it. All right. Voice note astrology, our last one of the year.
Hi, Thomas. I'm calling to get your perspective on my husband and daughter's relationship. He is a Capricorn with a moon in Scorpio, and she is Pisces with a moon in Aries. Sometimes he comes off a little harsh, and I kind of am the middleman between them. I normally, if he says something that I know is going to hurt her feelings, and she gets her feelings hurt really easily, I'll normally catch it and be like, hey, I know you didn't mean it this way, but she's going to take it this way. So you might want to change up the way that you just said that. I connect with her on a really emotional level. I think I understand her a lot more than he understands. I'm double Scorpio with a moon in Cancer. So, I guess if you can just break down what their relationship dynamic is, and maybe give me tips on how I can better help them with how they're communicating. Thanks. Love the show.
Well, thank you so much. That was great. Okay, so your husband is a Capricorn Scorpio. Hilarious, because in the episode before we were talking about Capricorn dads. And then your daughter is a Pisces Aries moon. That's pretty rough. And then you're double water, we'll just say, because you're Scorpio Cancer. So you're all the water there. A lot of water going on in the family. So I would say, what's happening with your husband is Capricorn with Scorpio moon. So different, such a dichotomy there, because it's like he's got that Capricorn energy where, again, like I said, it's about him and his stuff and his journey and his life, and the Scorpio moon in him that's the intensity there. That's where he can be rough, because he's got the Capricorn delivery but the Scorpio intensity. So he's just rough in general. You're not going to change that. That's embedded in him. So her being a Pisces with Aries moon, that's again, totally different sides of the spectrum. Even in astrology, Pisces represents death and the ending, and Aries represents rebirth and new beginning. So she's like a whole little evolved spirit of her own. Her inner self is like Aries, fire, charge. And then like her outer self is like intuitive Pisces and just love and comfort. And it's like, I want to say, because when I said the word comfort, I got a ding. Try to help make her comfortable so that Aries moon doesn't take over too much. Your husband he's not comfortable with himself, so he's not going to be able to make her comfortable. For me, what I'm picking up with Capricorn Scorpio with him is, I feel like he might have a thing where because he's uncomfortable in his own skin, it's like, I'm not saying he does this on purpose, but I think he kind of subconsciously likes when others are uncomfortable because it makes him feel less alone. It's a big statement there, but I really feel that. And then you're double water, so you're just like, please, everyone get along and love each other, and you need your own peace, which you're not going to get that. I feel like as they get older, they'll understand each other a little bit better. But I think your job is to help her make her be comfortable. I think it's great that you tell him to relax and to stop. My feeling is this too. Let him be the authoritative figure. I think he's good at that in the sense of, yeah, he's harsh and his delivery is probably not good, but I think he's good at authoritative figure. And I don't think it's bad for a child to have an authoritative figure. I think it's good for them because when they get older, they will have that already embedded in them. Not a bad authoritative figure, but like, I don't find an authoritative figure bad. I think that kids need that. Otherwise they become brats or bad people. But I think you need to make sure, as long as you're making her feel comfortable or you're creating a comfortable environment and you're like, not controlling the husband, but like, you're giving him boundaries and limits, I feel that can work. So I think you're doing the right thing by staying in the middle there. I don't feel like you're going to be able to have your own peace until she's a little older. But honey, when she has that Aries moon, she'll stand up to that shit. When she gets older, she's going to tell him fuck off. Like, trust me, you don't have to worry about her standing up for herself, but just create a comfortable environment for her so that she doesn't feel the anxiousness and the anger. We don't want her to develop anger. Pisces can be emotional and then the Aries can be angry. So you don't want the emotional anger to come out, but, create comfort for her. That's the biggest thing I keep hearing. Create comfort. Manage him, I would say. Again, it sounds like I'm saying he's not a bad person. It's just that this is what he's dealing with. This is what he's working with. The Cap Scorpio it's intense. So he's trying, but he's trying his best, I would say. So I think you just need to try to make her comfortable. Keep the home comfortable. Keep him managed and give him good boundaries. And if he's a loving, respectful husband and man, he'll accept those boundaries, but you have to communicate it. Don't be the water. A lot of water signs don't communicate things. Communicate. That is like the golden ticket. You have to communicate. Okay. So you be the balance. You keep those waters calm and everything will be fine. Because when she gets older, when she's a teenager, she'll tell him, I don't want to hear it. She will not have a problem with that, but create comfort. That's what I keep hearing. All right, my love. Well, thank you so much for that. Hit me up. My final thought. So my final thought as the new year approaches, I want to say, let's try to go into the new year. I hate when people say like, oh, never say this is your year. And listen, every year you got ups and downs and all arounds, it's part of the journey. I would say, let's be more intentional in 2026. Let's be more intentional. Things are like, I feel like we're in another universe or a different timeline or quantum physics type stuff. Like I feel like there are shifts or there are things that have happened. There's a lot of planetary stuff happening. So this past 2025, it feels like it feels like things happened and went on, but I feel like nothing felt deep. My garden, that felt deep. That felt very deep. My relationship with my nephews, that feels very deep, feels beautiful. But in general, I just feel like everything just went. Like all the seasons just came and went. Like everything just feels like it's just moving along. So I would say for 2026, let's be more intentional. For 2026 for me, I want to start working on physical health and things, doing better for the body. So pick something that you feel intentional about for 2026 and really try to stick with it and go for it. I would say for 2026, everyone get into your own world, get into your own vibe. Focus on yourself. Focus on being your light. That's what I would say. For 2026, how about everyone tunes into themselves? What can they do for their journey so they can make themselves the strongest, brightest bulb in the bunch so that we could just have a bunch of people walking around as bright lights? That's what I would say. For 2026, be intentional about how you can better yourself. It's not about I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to do that. Fine. If you do those things, great. But truly try to find the light inside you, and whatever you have to do, if quitting smoking is something that'll help shine your light, then yes, that's one of the things you need to do. But don't make that that's what I'm going to do. No. For 2026, just shine your light and do all the things that you need to do to get that light brighter. Because if we can shine our lights and be bright lights, then I feel like it can be a great year. It could be a great future. And I think it'll be a great you. So that's what I think we should all try to journey on for 2026. All right. As usual, my loves, I will see you in 2026. I love when people say, I'll see you next year. But we will. Mwah. Happy New Year.